Well, hello there. You probably know me as Mr. 20 US or Isaac David Brigmond 81, and I do the Hard Rock TV, or Rock Hard TV I meant to say. It's Rock Hard TV. Excuse me, I meant to say Rock Hard TV. Alright. As the inventor of Rock Hard TV, and Isaac David Brigmond 81 and Mr. 20 US, I want to tell y'all something. My name is Isaac David Brigmond. I am a YouTube preacher. Basically, that's a job that I have took upon myself to preach to you people with God's blessings. And I have the YouTube Church of BROXTON, Georgia. And so, I was born May the 15th, 1981. Next week, I'm about to be 31, and I also go to a church called Heritage Baptist Church of BROXTON, Georgia. If you'd like to know more about it, go look up Isaac David Brigmond on Facebook and look at my page, and when you do, you'll see on there where I have info about the church. It's for all colors, all races, all sex and age. And the church that I run on YouTube, it's for the same thing. We're laid back. I'm laid back. I pretty much come as I am to the Lord. But my point is, before I digress anymore, I'm here to say Happy Mother's Day to all mothers out there. And look, you could be a mother, you could be a grandmother, a great-grandmother, you can be a stepmother, a godmother, you could be an adopted mother, a mother figure. You can be a mother in any sort of way, and this is your day. Because I know without the Lord's help and without my mom's help, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I know that there's a lot of times I could have been 6 feet under, or I could have been dead. But you know what? I decided that my time on earth is better spent to honor these people. Yes, I may have not always been respectful to the Lord, and I may not always been respectful to my mother. But I learned in my lifetime, if you don't do what the Lord tells you to do right now, kiss everything you ever own goodbye, because you don't love God. You don't love Jesus. You don't love nobody if you can't stand up and, if you can't show your love to your God and your Jesus and your mother and the rest of the world. Because we all need help from somebody in this world to come down from a higher plane and say, look, we love you. Now do you love us back? God knows the truth about what we think of Him. So does Jesus, but He wants us to actually tell Him how we feel. So if you love God and you love Jesus and you love your mother, stand up today and say, I love my Father which is in heaven, I love my brother which is in heaven, and I love my mom which is either dead or alive, and I'm going to honor them today on Mother's Day to show my feelings and my true support. Without my mom and my grandmothers of this world, I wouldn't be where I am today. Same for my Lord. I had to have God to have Jesus. I had to have God to have Opal Harold, which is also Opal Smith. I wouldn't have had Marjorie Diane Nipper, which is my mom, which the story behind that was after my mom had gotten divorced from my late ex-stepfather, she kept his last name. So originally her last name was Harold. Yes, my granddad was David C. Harold of BROXTON, Georgia, and you might have known him as, you know, the guy that had a lot of goats on the BROXTON Fitzgerald Highway. And yes, I was the little boy that used to follow him around a lot whenever I was with him. I was his only grandson, but he had many grandkids that he loved. Now you're thinking, if you're his only grandchild, how can you have many grandchildren that he loved? Well, every child that he ever fell in love with, that was like another grandchild to my granddad, which is my mother's father. Same for my grandmother. I believe that every child my grandmother ever loved, that was like her adopted grandkids. And I believe that that's a good thing to be. So to all you people out there, it doesn't matter what your race is, your color, or who you are. If you can say to me with all due respect that you love your mom, you love your grandmothers, you love every mom whether it be adopted, whether it be mother figure, whether it be your real mother, your grandmother, or whoever, you love them, and you love them with your heart. If you've gave them a fit over the years, apologize for the fit you've given them and tell them you're sorry for it, but you love them just the same, no matter what kind of relationship you had with them. We are coming down to a time in our life when we see ourselves as people that need to wake up and realize that we can't just be throwing ourselves to the devil every time we feel like we're mad at somebody. I may have not always got along with my mom, but I know that if it wasn't for my mother, my grandmother, my father, God, and my brother Jesus, I wouldn't be here. And I still say that more than once. And you people out there that think you're a sissy for loving your mother or your father, you're not a sissy. You're more of a man or woman to do so, to love your family if you can, regardless of how they treat you. My dad was never there for me all the time, but yet I still love him, and I still love him, even though he's gone on to see either God and Jesus or the devil. I can't tell you which he's doing now because I don't know. But I will know that when my time comes to get to heaven, I get to the point in my life where I say, why did I do this to myself? Why did I say this stuff? Well, I think what my problem is I've said things to people that I should have never said to people, like my own mother, for instance. So, if your mother's your best friend, good for you. Because I've seen people say to me that I had problems in my life, and I would look at them where I had those problems. And you'd say, well, yeah, those are your problems you had, but do you follow in the footsteps of God to fix those problems? If your problems are with your mother, fix those problems before she's dead. Because if you don't fix them today, what you've just told yourself was you don't give a care about nobody but yourself and about Satan. Wake up, people. We live in a world today where we got to honor our moms. We got to honor our dads and tell them, look, we may not always approve of what you've done, but we were there when you needed us. And if we weren't there when you needed us, then we're shameful people for not trying to stand up for our beliefs. And our belief is, I love you and you love me. But how well do we prove of that? Do we really sit there and say, well, God, this guy loves me more than he ever could? I had a father, Edward Lee Brigmond of Douglas, Georgia. He died at age 84. I had a mother, Marjorie Diane Nipper, which is, well, I won't say her age because she might be mad if I did. And I can't remember how old my ex-stepfather was. He was single at the time of his death, and he died, but we still kept in touch as buddies. And then I had my granddad, which was my mother's father, and he was 84 when he died, if I ain't mistaken. And I understand that you have to look at people like, well, they were there for you, weren't they? And how do you feel about them? Does it make you feel good to know that you woke up one day and you said to yourself, that's my father, that's my mother? Well, yeah, but the problem is that you have to pray for your family. And you have to do for them what you have to do. So, before I leave right now, I want to say Happy Mother's Day to all mothers, regardless of your race, color, sex, and age. And believe me, for what you do for these people that you do for, God bless you for it. Well, I'll let you go. Happy Mother's Day, and I digressed a little too much on my subject, but the point was it was just me being nice to everybody. Happy Mother's Day.